Hi, I'm Dean with Old English Outfitters, and today we're going to be talking about the KE Arms KP-15 lower receiver build. Now, KE Arms is a great company. The last couple years they came out with the KP-15, which is a one-piece monolithic polymer AR-15 lower receiver. They did a few things to improve design to make it actually reliable for use. So just a little bit about the history of the polymer lowers. It's not a new concept. It's been being done since about the 60s. First, it was done by Colt. However, they had a few problems with cracking at the rear of the assembly. Then later, it was adapted by Cav Arms in the 90s, and then GWOX. KE Arms was recently in around 2020 is when they started doing the KP-15. So one-piece monolithic polymer design. Now, it does look similar to an A1 stock assembly, 13-inch overall length of pole, and that's because it is exactly the same length of pole as an A1 stock assembly. Fixed stock, no collapsing whatsoever. They went that route to increase the rigidity of the assembly.
Oh, no.
And so they could beef up this piece here, right around where your castle nut would be, where the buffer assembly cycles into the stock. More material here means it has a lot better shear strength and just stability overall. Working from the back, you do have a separate piece that is your butt pad that's attached with two thick bolts. The stock is partially hollow to keep the weight down, but still maintains a lot of mass most of the way back. The slots you see here, you can see one on both sides. You can run a sling through those in more of a traditional sling fashion, but they are the exact same diameter as an M-LOK slot. So you see here, I have an M-LOK QD in the rear of my stock assembly. That is to allow me to run QD sling. This here, this cross bolt, this hole, can also accept a QD if you want to run the close QD similar to how you would on the end plate of a standard AR. Now, the other thing you will notice is if you see this very small hole just below your forward assist, that is for a roll pin that retains your detent to keep your buffer assembly in place. This will take standard buffer assemblies. You would most likely need a lighter weight one depending on the configuration of your upper, but it does have a cross pin to retain that detent so you can put any safety assembly in. However, because it is polymer, the rattling sound of the spring rubbing against the polymer is a little bit annoying, and Tristan and I opted to get a JP silent capture buffer system. Just makes the whole assembly run a lot smoother and, more importantly, quieter. Forward from there, we have the grip. So this is about the exact same profile as a Magpul K2 grip. Not an all the way vertical grip angle, but much better than an A2. Still lets you get a good grip. I initially had reservations about that, but after shooting it a bunch, I didn't even really notice the grip angle. So I like that a lot. It does have a flared magwell, integral to the design. Very generous flare, easy to get a magazine in there for reloads. And it does have a winter trigger guard is what they call it, but an enlarged trigger guard, something to accommodate gloves and just not be as tight as a standard mil-spec. So the completed lower, you can get it in FDE, OD green, or black. It comes with mil-spec components. It does accommodate most mil-spec components. The only thing that it will not fit is the pins. These are QD pins. They are not captured. They have a detent in the end of the pin, so you punch it out and it comes all the way out of the receiver. That is just because you can't really drill the holes fine enough and have the retained pins work correctly with the polymer lower. There's a few things that the polymer does great, but just be realistic about how all of that is going to machine and function with metal parts inside. That doesn't really work out so well. In addition, the safety is kind of proprietary. So as you can tell, the grip here is fixed. It's monolithic. It's part of the entire assembly. So we can't take that off to take the spring and detent out to switch the safety or even take the safety out for cleaning. The way that KE Arms got around that is there is a ramp milled in to the inside of the safety where the detent pin will engage that track to rotate the safety in place. That ramp allows you to just push it out the side. So you can't just use any old assembly unless you fit the safety to accommodate that. So file in or Dremel in or mill in that ramp, and then you can use any safety you want. For example, Tristan's gun has a radian safety, and mine is a forward controls 50 degree. We had to custom modify those to accommodate the assembly of the KP-15. So they would go in and out and it wouldn't crack trying to hammer it out one way. The inside of The actual lower looks very similar to, again, a mil-spec lower. It is wider and beefier in a few parts. That's where the KP-15 really exceeds expectations above other polymer assemblies. They were realistic about the strength of polymer and what needs to happen. So the front of the lower is a good bit wider than standard mil-spec, so that you don't have problems with rotation of the front lug of your upper. The back is also wider than a standard mil-spec. You can see from the side that there is a lip sticking out from the upper receiver, whereas an aluminum lower would meet edge to edge and be flush both sides. This is to help with rigidity so you don't have cracking at the start of your buffer assembly. So one final note about the lower is we did swap out the mil-spec trigger. The completed lowers do come with just a mil-spec trigger kit. KE Arms makes their own triggers, a cassette style, all contained in one piece. This is their DMR trigger, which is their kind of middle-of-the-road, reasonably priced, not super high dollar trigger. And it is excellent. Basically no take-up, a very clean break, nice let-off, and a good reset that really does kick your finger forward. It is single stage, so it's easy to run fast, but also not very difficult to be precise with either. So we both got the DMR trigger and put these in the lowers to kind of have the whole lower assembly be KE Arms parts. Alright, so let's move on to the upper assemblies, because this is a complete build from parts that we kind of wanted to be very lightweight and very durable based off of the KP-15 lower. So let's get into it. Start with Tristan's guns, because it is the original. This was his idea. He picked out all the parts for it, and again, I kind of just riffed off of his design. So KP-15 lower, we already talked about that. Tristan also has a KE Arms slick upper receiver that has no forward assist. That's because Tristan is left-handed, so running the charging handle and operating the gun, the forward assist kind of gets in the way. So not only does it help with his function of the rifle, also saves weight. The bolt carrier is a bootleg adjustable bolt carrier because we do intend to run these guns suppressed. So that is probably the easiest and best way to manage gas when running an AR suppressed. You do sacrifice a little bit, a microscopic amount of the performance from actually gunsmith sizing the port or an adjustable gas system, but you will not notice the difference in performance with how easy it is. Flathead screwdriver through the ejection port, click, and now you're not getting gassed in the face. That's a really great product. Midwest Industries lightweight rail with a titanium barrel nut. Again, keep the weight down. For grip and heat management, we have an Emissary Development handbrake, and this is a Lunar Concepts hot pocket. So this is Cordura, and it has heat shielding sewn into the wrap. Keeps the weight way down, but still shields you from the heat around the gas block. This is a great product. You can find these over at Wiseman Company. They're the only ones that sell them, but they make really great stuff. We have a Ballistic Advantage Hansen profiled barrel, which is a lightweight profile without being a pencil barrel. It is 13.7 inches overall in length, and then we have a Sons of Liberty Knox pinned and welded. So we have, I think it comes out to almost exactly 16.1 inches in overall length, making this a legal rifle. And then here we do have an Arisaka Legacy Light with the Mod Light Legacy head, kind of that Surefire 600 series Scout body style with some newer components to give it some better performance. Now the optic. Tristan has a primary arms 1:6 first focal plane with a 12 o'clock mounted red dot. Very good way to index off of the dot, roll in quickly, but make this a little bit of a DMR. You're still limited somewhat on range, but this thing performs really well. We had no problem stretching either rifle out to 300 yards. I am a little bit untrusting of everything, so I wanted a forward assist. Also, I'm right-handed, so it's not a problem for me. Same barrel, handguard, bolt carrier, muzzle device, light, everything. I do have iron sights mounted on my rifle. Once again, I'm just not a very trusting person, so I have iron sights mounted forward of my ACOG. Now, I love the ACOG. You do have to choke up on the stock a little bit. This is the LED, so there is no fiber. This is battery powered, and I have an adjustment knob on opposite the ejection port side, so I can use LED to illuminate my reticle. And I also have a 12 o'clock mounted red dot. Mainly on both of these guns, we wanted to have medium to long range performance, close range performance similar to a high mounted red dot, and passive aiming with night vision should we choose. And the LED ACOG allows you to do that because the red dot is mounted forward instead of right in front of your rear bezel. So this lets you still get that nod down there without just slamming your face against the rifle every time you fire or move. So again, the whole point of this build, it was kind of influenced by Forgotten Weapons and the What Would Stoner Do? A very lightweight rifle, but we wanted to sacrifice a little bit of the weight and get a little bit more performance. Pencil barrels don't do great full auto. They don't do great suppressed. You can have those groups open up quite a bit. And we wanted to be able to suppress these guns and run them hard and not have significant point of impact shift. So the Hansen profile barrel is still a lightweight profile, still keeps the weight way down, but has enough material to it, and width at the back, you don't get that significant point of impact shift when it gets very hot or when you're running it suppressed. So sacrificing just a little bit of weight. And aluminum, so we have aluminum handguards, not carbon fiber. These things are very good shooters. I thought that the 13-inch overall length of pole would really bother me, but I ended up not noticing it at all. I like the fixed stock, again, just less complicated. There's not a lot of things I have to move or adjust on my rifle, almost none. I don't have to roll my power up. I don't have to do any of that because I already have my red dot for close to almost medium, and then 4 power is sufficient for me for as long as I want to stretch this rifle. Tristan wanted to be able to take his just a little bit farther, and the 1-6 allows him to do that because he can roll all the way up. And with the BDC that comes in the primary arms, it's very easy to quickly accommodate or adjust for different distances without having to click or roll or anything. Now, one last thing, KE Arms, we did just start stocking this product. We can also special order any of their items through our distributors. They're going through some legal trouble right now with people trying to sue them for various reasons. So anything you can do to support them buying their products, they're a good company and they actually think out their designs and provide you good product at a reasonable price. So we had no problem supporting them here. That's why we started stocking them. And because we built these guns, realized how well they performed and thought our customers might like that. This thing's really light. Both of these guns, optics and all, lights, everything, weigh about as much, mine a little bit less, than a completely non-outfitted Smith & Wesson M&P-15 Sport 2. A2 furniture, no optic, Magpul flip-up irons, and a fixed front sight. This whole gun and everything weighs exactly as much as that rifle. So if that gives you a good perspective on the weight savings, it's very light. It feels like a very handy carbine. And as well as it performs, I'm super happy with it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. In addition, check us out on Instagram at OE Outfitters. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.